Welcome to Bible Logos. I am David DeLuz, your broadcast host. I am here today to bring you part 2 of the message, Don't Waste My Time, because I ain't coming down there. Please remember to like and share this message on social media with your friends and family. All right, here we go with part 2 of the message, Don't Waste My Time, because I ain't coming down there.
And that's why Artaxerxes sends a prophet by the name of Ezra. He sends Ezra he commissions him to go back to Israel to lead a spiritual revival to rekindle the hearts of the people to worship God. In 14 years, Ezra has been commissioned to go back to Israel. Word gets back to Artaxerxes that the kingdom, that even though the kingdom had been rebuilt, the walls in Jerusalem had not been rebuilt. And then we are introduced to a servant by the name, a Jewish servant by the name of Nehemiah. Nehemiah is just not any servant. He's one who has garnered favor of the king. Do I have a witness here? Because Nehemiah was the cupbearer for Artaxerxes. Now, we don't have many of those today, so let me tell you what Nehemiah's job entails. Anytime they brought wine to Artaxerxes, Nehemiah had to drink it first to make sure that it wasn't poison. And so when they were having a party and they brought wine out, everybody would stop what they were doing, look at Nehemiah to make sure he didn't drop dead. And if he didn't drop dead, then the party was turned on. Do I have a witness here? Do I have a witness in this house? Everybody would stop what they were doing and start the party and watch him. Do I have a witness here? And not everybody wanted this job. And so because of his loyalty and because of his closeness to the emperor or the king, he loved him some Nehemiah. And one day he sees Nehemiah walking around depressed and dejected. And he asks Nehemiah, what's wrong? And he says, my heart is burdened because the walls of Jerusalem have not been rebuilt. And Artaxerxes is so attached to Nehemiah that he releases him to go back to Jerusalem and sends him with the resources and soldiers. Do I have a witness here? And says, go back and rebuild the walls so your heart will be encouraged and you can worship God sincerely with a whole heart. Do I have a witness here? And so Nehemiah goes back to Jerusalem, watch this, with the favor of the king, with the blessing of the king. Now, I want you to keep that in your head. He went back there with the blessing and the favor of the king. Please don't miss that. Now, when you go home and read the book of Nehemiah, it's 13 chapters, you can do it today. You will learn that from the very moment Nehemiah gets back to Jerusalem, he's met with issue and opposition with 3 non-Jewish people, Sanballat, Tobiah, and Geshem. Please make a mental note of that. So when you go back home and read the book of Nehemiah, it's 13 chapters, you could do it today. You would note that he has some trouble with these fellas named Sanballat, Tobiah, and Geshem. Pastor Melvin, these 3 fellas cause Nehemiah a whole lot of problems. They mock his intentions. They deride his efforts. They malign his motives. And they even threaten his life. At one point, these 3, Sanballat, Tobiah, and Geshem, they form an alliance with the men of Ashdod to come in and threaten Nehemiah. They came in to scatter and mess with the people and the workers, ultimately tried to claim Nehemiah's life. Sanballat, Tobiah, and Geshem. But the Bible says that Nehemiah prayed and persevered. And they even reached a point where he had in his workers, they were rebuilding the wall. They had a hammer in one hand and a weapon in the other. And they decided, we're going to work, we're going to pray, and we're going to protect. Who am I talking to? They said, we're going to work, we're going to pray, and we're going to protect. They said, we're going to work, we're going to pray, and we're going to protect. So they pushed and they prayed and they persevered. And the Bible says that in 52 days the walls were rebuilt. Okay. All right. In 52 days, Nehemiah does something that couldn't be done in 52 years. 52 days. He did something that couldn't be done in 52 years. That's when the sun rises on chapter 6. In chapter 6, these same fellas, Sanballat, Tobiah, and Geshem, get word that the walls have been rebuilt and all Nehemiah has left to do is hang the doors and the gates. And they send word to Nehemiah, not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, but 5 times. They send word to Nehemiah saying, come down, let's talk. This ain't got to be ugly. It don't have to go down like this. Nehemiah, come on down. Let us reason together. Let's work this thing out. And Nehemiah's repeated reply to this nefarious, this wicked and evil intended invitation to come and sit down and talk is simply, don't waste my time. You missed it. They said, Nehemiah, come down. Let's spend some time hashing this thing out. Let's break bread. Let's spend the day together. Let's go suit shopping. Let's go to Top Golf. Let's go to a movie, the IMAX. Let's go play let's go bowling or something. And Nehemiah, being a good steward of his time, say, I don't have time for that. As a matter of fact, let me hear you say, I ain't got time for that. So I'm sure you're wondering, why doesn't Nehemiah engage Sanballat, Tobiah? Yes. Why didn't he come down off the wall? Because they haven't been getting along. So perhaps we can work this relationship out. Why does Nehemiah declare, I ain't got time for that? This is a good lesson for somebody in here this morning. Because you're wasting your precious time that God has given you on folk who don't mean you no good. Their motives are all messed up. They have a terrible record in the loyalty department. Their one mission in life is to get you off track, bring you down to their level, and stop you from doing all that God created you to do.
Welcome back. Now, if you like what you've heard so far, please tune in tomorrow for part 3 of the message, Don't Waste Your Time, because I ain't coming down there. I am David DeLuz, and I want you to remember that the sower sows the word, and therefore it is with the same measure you meet that it shall be measured unto you again.